Right, what's happening, people? It feels like a while, doesn't it? I think it's 6 or 7 days since I've posted a video. I have been away on holiday. I am still away on holiday. I say holiday, I'm out here training as well for my upcoming Misfits fight. I'm in Fuerteventura at the moment and obviously watching the Euro final and whatnot. But as much as it was always my intention to bang out a bit of content while I was over here, it was definitely not my intention to bring you guys the video that I'm going to be bringing you today. Because obviously, unless you have been living under a rock for the last 24 hours, if you're a Chelsea fan, you will know that a video has surfaced of Enzo Fernandez and his Argentinian teammates where they are singing a host of chants after winning the Copa America in the final against Colombia, and one specific particular chant that was being sung about the French national team players is really landing Enzo Fernandez, as well, by the way, as the rest of his Argentinian teammates who were also singing the chant, in very hot water. So we need to speak about that. Firstly, before we do so, I do want to go on record and be completely transparent with you here and say that this is not my forte, okay? Anyone that's a long-term watcher of the channel, anyone that watches any of my content knows that I like to keep it light-hearted. I like to have a bit of banter on the channel. I just like to have good vibes on the channel. And ultimately, this isn't the sort of thing that I really want to be making a video about at all, because I don't feel like I'm the most educated to be making this sort of video. I don't feel like I'm maybe the most informed to be speaking about the origins of this chant or the ill feeling between the Argentinians and the French, but it is a big news story involving a Chelsea player. So obviously I am going to be covering it, and obviously a lot of you guys have been messaging me saying that you need to hear my thoughts on this. And ultimately, I might disappoint you a little bit here, because my thoughts on this situation, maybe, as I say, aren't going to be the most intelligent ones, aren't going to be anything that's going to give you answers, and maybe there are more questions rather than answers, but all I can do is cover it in the best way I feel possible. So Enzo Fernandez has obviously now released a statement. I'm going to quickly read that statement out. Enzo Fernandez says, "I want to apologise sincerely for a video posted on my Instagram channel during the national team celebrations. The song included highly offensive language, and there is absolutely no excuse for these words. I stand against all forms of discrimination and apologise for getting caught up in the euphoria of our Copa America celebrations. That video, that moment, those words do not reflect my beliefs or my character, and I am truly sorry." Now, Chelsea Football Club have also released a statement. I'll quickly read you out that in case you haven't heard it already. Chelsea Football Club finds all forms of discriminatory behaviour completely unacceptable. We are proud to be a diverse and inclusive club where people from all cultures, communities and identities feel welcome. We acknowledge and appreciate our players' public apology, and we will use this opportunity to educate. The club has instigated an internal disciplinary procedure. And that is pretty much all that has been said on the situation. So, obviously, from my own personal point of view, for what it's worth, for what some of you might care, I too completely condemn the situation. It's not a chant that anyone in any walk of life should be singing. It's also very irresponsible for a player that is representing Chelsea Football Club, representing the Argentinian national team, to be putting that out on his social media. I understand that, as Enzo says in his statement there, caught up in the euphoria, the adrenaline, and I understand that when your adrenaline is sky high and going through the roof, you might make mistakes, you might say things that ultimately you'll massively regret. However, there's making mistakes, and then there's saying things that can be interpreted as racist, and a whole host of other things. So completely condemn the situation. Not only do I condemn the situation, clearly a lot of the Chelsea players condemn the situation, because so far we can see that David Datro Fofana, Malang Sarr, Amanda Broha, Benoit Badiashile, Axel Disasi, Romeo Lavia Melo, Gusto, Christopher Nkunku, and Leslie Ugochukwu have all unfollowed Enzo Fernandez off of social media, as has Wesley Fofana, who has also posted it on his story and put out a quote underneath it that says, "Football in 2024, uninhibited racism," and a hand over the face emoji. So clearly, not only are a lot of people in the football community, just a lot of people in the world, very annoyed and very disappointed and outraged by this situation, but also a lot of Enzo Fernandez's teammates are. And that is a bad, bad thing for Chelsea Football Club, because I believe that the ups and downs from last season, the bad moments and the turbulence and the turmoil that we had to go through at times would have really built our character as a team. Because in all honesty, we all know the score, don't we? Like, we were a bunch of kids thrown together last season, and we had to ride through the ups and downs and the roller coaster journey to be able to sort of see the light at the end of the tunnel and come good in the end, which I feel like we did towards the latter stages of the last season. And a big part of that will be building relationships. A big part of that will be these players that didn't know each other before really coming together, gelling, forming relationships, getting to know each other, and ultimately, you know, I don't want to say building bridges because there was no problem there in the first place, but just forming real strong connections with each other. And those connections are something that can really, really help us drive on as a team next season. And ultimately, there are now rifts in the camp. So I think that Enzo Fernandez has done the right thing in terms of coming out, addressing it, apologising for the situation and explaining himself to a degree. But obviously actions speak louder than words, and it's, you know, as I say, it's not acceptable. I do think that there will be some sort of punishment that comes off the back of this now. There will definitely be a fine. Historically, if we look at similar situations, there's usually been match bans, you know. I think that Luis Suarez was given a 10-match ban when he was found guilty of racially abusing Patrice Evra. And that was a 40 grand fine as well, an 8-match ban, that is, I'm actually reading now. A more recent case was Edison Cavani, who I believe was given a 3-match ban after he was believed to have made a racial slur on Instagram. So I would imagine that there will be some form of match ban coming the way of Enzo Fernandez. And obviously some form of fine. Most importantly, from a selfish aspect, as a Chelsea fan, and by the way, as I say, want to have it on the record again, completely condemn it. It's not acceptable, and you know, it's a real bad situation that this has happened. But from a selfish point of view, in terms of a lifelong Chelsea fan who wants the team to do well, this is obviously not the end of the story for me. I personally believe that if he hasn't already, and the chances are he probably has, Enzo Fernandez needs to reach out to each and every one of his teammates, really, and explain the situation, apologise personally to them, directly to them, rather than just a statement that was put out on his social media. Definitely probably needs to educate himself somewhat. He's from a different culture. He has been playing in sort of European football for a couple of years now, but things in different parts of the world are different. But ultimately, wherever you are in the world, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable at all. So I feel like he needs to definitely get in front of, you know, Wesley Fofana would definitely be one when you see the reaction that's come from him. But everyone, because, you know, it's not just going to be French players that are going to be offended by this. Everyone has the right to be offended by this sort of situation because, as I say, in 2024, this is something that many people understand is still there in the background, but has been worked very, very hard over the years to be eradicated from football. So it's obviously not something that anyone wants to deal with at all and anyone wants to see at all. So hopefully Enzo Fernandez can educate himself from this. Hopefully he can come back from it. Hopefully he can build bridges and build relationships with the teammates that have very rightly so felt upset and let down by Enzo Fernandez in this situation. Now, having a good atmosphere, friendships, good vibes, they're very important in any workplace. And I do believe that this needs to be something that Enzo Fernandez needs to get on top of straight away. Enzo Moresa needs to get on top of straight away and really, really just try and redeem himself from this sort of situation. I don't want it to look like I'm just completely going in on Enzo Fernandez, because enough people have done that and enough of the internet have been able to do that, and rightly so. Enzo Fernandez should be punished. Enzo Fernandez should be criticised, and I completely condemn it. However, what I would say is that we need to now find a solution to move forward, and ultimately I don't really know what that solution is, so I'm making this video to try and gauge your lot's opinion and see how this can be moved forward from. Obviously, there's an extreme scenario which people are saying that Enzo Fernandez should now be sold, shouldn't play for the club again, things like that. Obviously, there's the people that are saying that, you know, you can see that as much as some of the Chelsea players have unfollowed Enzo Fernandez and shown sort of discontent for what has happened, you also have players like Nicholas Jackson, who has, you know, posted something on social media supporting Enzo Fernandez somewhat. So I do think that Enzo Fernandez will be playing for Chelsea again. I think he'll be integrated back into the team. But I do think that there should probably be a little bit more than just the statement that was put out. I do think there should be a little bit more than that. Ultimately, I'm gutted for Enzo Moresa as well, because I've been watching some of the training footage back from his first week or so as Chelsea Football Club manager, and it looks really good, you know. It looks like the vibes at Cobham are good. I'm excited to see how things progress under Enzo Moresa. I actually think that one of the main reasons Enzo Moresa was brought in was because of his tactical style of play suiting that of Enzo Fernandez, and maybe the ownership thought that ultimately Enzo Moresa could hold the key to unlocking that partnership possibly between Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo, because I don't think it's any secret that Caicedo last season proved himself to be the more valuable asset to Chelsea Football Club than Enzo Fernandez did last season, albeit Enzo Fernandez was playing through an injury. So yeah, guys, ultimately I just want to give my reaction on camera, because I don't want to not address the situation when I've got so many of you guys who I really appreciate tuning into my videos, supporting the channel as you have done over the last year or so. I've got so many of you messaging me, and I don't want to just not address the situation. Ultimately, it's something that all of us would rather be doing without. Now, we'll quickly touch on another thing, because a lot of you guys in the comments section asked me why I stopped covering the Euro football. And obviously, the fact that England got to the final would be even more reason for me to cover it. But the reason being is because not all of my subscribers, in fact, probably only about 45% of my subscribers and the watchers of my channel are English. So therefore, I'm not saying because you're not English, you might not have any interest in the England national team. However, it's probably not going to be something that you're going to be, you know, racing to watch content around a team that isn't a team that you're supporting, or maybe wanting to do well in the Euros and whatnot. But ultimately, we did get to the final. We lost in the final, as some people might have expected. I thought we'd get it done. Gareth Southgate's now stepped down from his role as England manager. I really do wish Gareth Southgate all the best. I think he did brilliant things for England. I think that you could always have the glass half empty mentality of saying, well, we should have beat Croatia, we should have beat Italy, we should have beat Spain. But Gareth Southgate did more for England than any manager has ever done for England in my lifetime, in my opinion. So there you go. One thing he didn't do, though, which he should have been doing, is he should have been starting Phil Foden. God, he was starting Phil Foden. He should have been starting Cole Palmer over Phil Foden from the start. I'm going to put it out there, guys. I think Phil Foden won Player of the Year, didn't he? Cole Palmer's a better player than Phil Foden. And Cole Palmer proved in the moments that he was given on the pitch at Euro 2024 that he was so much more influential to that team, so much more important. That goal in the final, to have the class, the composure, to be able to do that a matter of seconds after coming onto the pitch is just absolutely filthy. And I, for one, am so glad for however long it lasts that we have got Cole Palmer at Chelsea Football Club. I think he's on 75 grand a week, by the way. Quadruple that, treble that, get him on more, tie him down to a new contract and make sure we've got this boy. Because the likes of Real Madrid, you know, the same way they were sniffing around Jude Bellingham, they will be sniffing around Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer is the best thing to happen to Chelsea Football Club in a long, long time, in my opinion. I also want to speak about one more thing. Gary Neville. That for me is the only silver lining, and it is a very small silver lining, to come out of England losing the final to Spain, would be the redemption arc of Cucurella. Now, Obviously, Cucurella had a stellar season for Chelsea Football Club. Many people, including myself, pundits and YouTubers and things like that, wrote Cucurella off at a time. They thought he wasn't good enough. And obviously, I've, said multiple times on the channel that I just feel like a complete idiot for doing so. However, I haven't said anything like that about Cucurella, about his performances within the last 12 months since he turned it on and since he became one of the best left-backs in the country. He will definitely, in the world I should say, he'll definitely make team of the tournament if they haven't already done that. He got the assist in the final, and ultimately a small silver lining to come from that is the fact that Cucurella lifted the Euros trophy. Now, Gary Neville obviously went on record as saying that one of the reasons why he doesn't believe that Spain will go far is because they've got Cucurella playing for him. So, Gary Neville there showing himself maybe to have not done his research, maybe speaking on Cucurella without actually watching him this season. Now, the amount of times that I've seen Gary Neville at Stamford Bridge in commentary, you would imagine that he must have been watching him. So I don't know where this comes from. I don't know where this opinion of Gary Neville came from, that Cucurella is not a good player. Maybe he's just running with a narrative that has been, out of date for the last 12 months or so now. But Cucurella is the absolute bollocks. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and question Gary Neville's knowledge of football. Gary Neville's probably forgot more about football than I know. He was obviously, a brilliant servant to Man United and obviously a brilliant manager during his time at Valencia, as short as it was. So, listen, I'm not going to stick the knife in too far. Gary Neville, he had a shocker there. He had a shocker when he called us the blue billionaire bottle jobs or whatever it was after the League Cup final. But maybe next time Gary Neville talks about Chelsea, he should just hold his tongue ever so slightly. Take a deep breath and then think about what you're saying. We all get things wrong, mate. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. But I'm just glad you got egg on your face now. People, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Again, I want to make it very clear, I don't think I'm a book of wisdom. I'm not the most intelligent person. Probably why I'm a YouTuber. But that is ultimately my thoughts on the whole Enzo Fernandez situation. It's still unfolding. Completely condemn it. Glad that he has rightly so issued an apology, but also feel like probably a little bit more than a social media post apology is going to be needed. There are going to be bridges that need to be built with both his teammates, fan bases. He's going to come in for some stick, isn't he, from rival fans and, away days and things like that. But ultimately, that's something he's going to have to persevere with, deal with, and get on with, as will the rest of the Argentinian teammates that, were joining in the chant. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, people. Good to speak to you. Hopefully next time I speak to you, it will be on happier terms. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'll see you all in the next one.